Okay, yeah, we have one active proposal. Let me just drop the link to that in here for us this week. Here we go. This is for the adjusting quorum requirements and increasing voter XP. Currently, we're sitting at 9.5 million votes in favor, representing 94.73% of the vote. Uh, 527 votes to reject this proposal, 5.27%. This would adjust quorum down and exclude certain wallets, also change and increase voter XP. This has reached 111% of quorum, so it's going to pass, assuming nothing changes in the next couple days. You do have until June 16th to vote, friends. So congratulations on getting this done. This was very important, and we were able to do it. We didn't have to use, like sidestep DAO
Yeah.
governance, which I think is great. Like we managed to stick that out. So that's awesome. There are no other active proposals. I believe once this does pass, we'll see some new active proposals pop up specifically around the foundation organization, like for the annual budget, stuff like that. Just as a quick update before we toss it over to coderdan to start with our first subject. We did have Johnson from Lotusha contact us. Our nominee supervisor has officially been changed to Lotusha, and Pixelcraft has settled up for us on the invoices that we owed. I believe it was like one for 19,000, another for 2,000. Those have been paid by Pixelcraft, so we have to be mindful that we'll have to reimburse them and eventually put in a core prop to reimburse them in the future. So I guess the first subject we'll jump into, because Coder Dan has a time-sensitive situation here, will be the new update that he did on the Hungry Ghost, a proposal for ghost staking.
Yeah. All right. This is kind of V3 of this proposal. Let's see what people think about it this time. I will admit there's some heavy use of ChatGPT in the actual proposal itself, just because it writes so quickly and so well right now. So ignore the ChatGPT style if you can. I'll share the link to. I think you guys should be able to see it if I link. Be able to see this link here. All the ideas and stuff were conversations and thinking about what might be like a cool product that we could have on base as we're launching. That's would be fairly light lift and also matches kind of the whole ethos of the project. This idea of a gamified pet that generates yield for you. So I'll give a quick. It's a fairly quick read, but I'll give a quick summary here just for those listening. So, Hungry Ghost gamified staking program built for Aavegotchi NFTs. When we migrate to base, it's going to allow you to basically transform your passive USDC yield from Aave 3 into a weekly Ghost distribution via gameplay mechanics, including team competitions, sponsoring tokens, and we're bringing back the belly, the Gotchi belly staking. So mechanics, basically, this is something I've kind of thought about for a while, but hadn't really pulled the trigger on it. But I think one of the issues with previous the ghost staking or Hungry Ghost was that all the yield had to come from the program itself. So in this one, we're actually leaning more heavily into Aave and other DeFi out there, kind of going back to the original concept of Aavegotchis, in that everyone who wants to participate in this program will stake USDC into their Aavegotchi NFTs, and those are going to be. It's going to automatically deposit that into Aave V3 on base. So USDC on base earns it's generally a decent APR, 3.5 to 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 8%. But that instead of going like directly back to the Gotchi owner, that USDC interest is going to get pooled into a pool, and basically that ghost will get distributed pro rata based on how many points each player has accrued during the weekly epic. And another source, so that ghost would come from basically at the end of the epic, we would have a keeper, and that keeper is going to basically just swap all the USDC that's in the pool at that time to ghost, and then it's going to distribute the ghost. So that's the basic mechanic. Now the question and the issue is, well, why wouldn't you just want to take that USDC and just stake it and for yourself and get your own APR? And I think that's what we're trying to compete against here. If we want to actually make this kind of interesting staking program, it's got to be a higher APR than just vanilla staking it in Aave. And honestly, that's kind of it's not an easy problem to solve. It's like not that easy to exceed the base yield of Aave. So one of the ideas that I came up with, before we get into that, real quick, just the way that the belly works. If you look at part 3, belly capacity and boost mechanics. So every USDC you stake is you're not going to have to pay to increase your belly size like in the original Hungry Ghost proposal, but you just stake USDC, and each USDC could give you 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, whatever. We could decide a little bit later on that. It would give you a certain amount of ghost capacity, and then you would stake the ghost inside of your gotchi. So you've staked USDC, which is in that yield is being redirected back to the rewards pool, and you've staked the ghost, which is going to help you accrue points to participate. And there would be a way, if you want, that you could kind of spend a little bit of extra ghost, actually spend it to increase your belly size without having to stake additional USDC. And all that ghost, like if you're a little bit greedier, all that ghost is going to go back into the rewards pool. And we would also potentially have bazaar fees also going back into the rewards pool, as we've talked about in the past. Okay, so back to the APR thing. It's really kind of a difficult problem or thing to get a higher APR than the base APR of Aave. So came up with, this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I feel like it's kind of a big opportunity that we have on base specifically, because there's so much meme coin activity on base compared to Polygon. Like Polygon, this wouldn't have really been possible to do. But there's so many like native or organic meme communities on base that I think there's more of a chance of this working. And essentially it would be like allowing you to change your gotchi's collateral and change it. We would essentially design new collaterals for different meme tokens or utility tokens. And then those collateral, like your gotchi's original collateral, is going to be replaced by this new collateral. You could probably revert it back if you want. It's not going to like totally replace it. It's more like a skin. But what this would do is we would then go to these different teams. I'll just read this part here. Team skins and sponsor tokens. Participants choose skins aligning their gotchis with different meme coin or token sponsors. Points earned while wearing a specific skin grant eligibility for sponsor-specific token rewards. Skins can be switched freely with points earned up until the switch remaining with the previous skin. So what we would basically go and do here is we would reach out to different meme coin or token communities on base and say, hey, we have this NFT project, and it's kind of like a billboard for your community. Like if you want to get some visibility, it's a fairly cheap way to get a bunch of people to like switch their gotchi collaterals to your meme token for a week. And so if you're familiar with Aerodrome, you know how their bribing works. Well, we could kind of have the same thing where we could, it'd be some BD work, community work. We could go to different communities and say, why don't you sponsor $2,000 worth of your token and that's going to get people to switch their gotchi collateral to your collateral for this week. And if enough people switch, it actually could be good publicity for those projects. So this could be for bigger projects, things like Brett, Toshi. They have a budget for this. It's like an advertising budget. We could work with them. It could also work for like more organic kind of grassroots up and coming projects that are looking to get visibility. And it could also work for utility tokens like our friends over at B3. They have staking programs. Like everyone has a budget for marketing and advertising. So I think it's kind of a cool way. And what that would do is it would basically boost the base APY. So you wouldn't just be earning Ghost, you would also be earning tokens from all these different partner projects. And it also gives us a really cool way and an excuse kind of to reach out to these communities. The issue with Aavegotchi is that we've always kind of been siloed and doing our own thing. Part of that is because there wasn't that much happening on Polygon. There's like not that much. It's basically us and QuickSwap and like Sunflower Land. And I think they left. So there wasn't really, like there weren't a lot of partners on Polygon to work with. But with Base, there's like so much more activity and there's so many more people that we can work with and projects. So the appearance of the gotchi would actually change. This also allows us, if we want, as a community, we can get our own ghost gotchis, because ghost could be we could sponsor our own pools. We don't have to, but it would be one way to make like a ghost specific rewards pool if the DAO wanted to sponsor things like that. So that's the main gist. There's some stuff, kind of ChatGPT threw it in. Anti-whale, not something I'm really worried about in this early stage. And then rent to earn, like if people, I think there's some things we could do with like Farcaster and mini apps where someone's scrolling and it says, hey, you can rent a gotchi for like 1 USDC right now. And that gotchi is going to earn you potentially a couple USDC in fees or whatever. Like if you can switch it to the meme token that you want. So renting could become a potential option again, because there's actually a base yield that people can earn. Number 7, exit strategy, something I'm still kind of on the fence about. Part of me wants to do like a V token strategy, which would like have people lock up their ghost. Another part is just like keep it simple, let people unstake their ghost and their USDC whenever they want, and it'll kind of let them exit whenever they want. And then there's some stuff on governance, just some parameters that the DAO could have control of maybe, and yeah, kind of a roadmap. So that is the overall gist. I think the cool thing about it is it does have a base yield kind of built in, and that doesn't come from us as a project. It comes from just normal market activity, and it's fairly decent yield. Like it's not gonna change the world for 4 to 5%, but it's like a pretty decent yield. So I'm gonna check the chat here. So yeah, just interested what people think of this idea. And this doesn't, also worth noting, like this doesn't have to be developed exclusively by Pixelcraft. We do have a lot on our plate at the moment. Everyone always mentions that we are trying to focus on the Gotchi Guardians release. I don't think it would be this is not a massive lift. Like it's a fairly simple staking program, but this could also, if the DAO, if there's devs who want to step up, this could also be something that the DAO could like get people to build as well, if it's something we want to pursue. It doesn't have to be built by Pixelcraft. Thrax says it's a cool idea, but it assumes we have enough eyeballs to entice people to advertise with us. Yeah, I mean that's like basic marketing. The issue we have right now is we have nothing to really market. There's no calling card. This becomes kind of a calling card that we can go and we can say, hey, we got this billboard of people what you can try to get people to like change their gotchi skin to yours for a week. And I think that's it's something that we can go to people's BD teams and be like, would you want to chuck $1,000 at this and see where it goes? Maybe it works out for them. Maybe their meme coin gets more attention, or there's other bigger projects. We have partners, but there's no easy way to co-market right now.
Yeah, personally, I like it because it does open up like the ability to co-partner with these other meme coins, like you said, Brett, because they do have like fervent followings. Is there any lane though, like with say some of these partners like Brett, where say if people do switch their collaterals and they have like a Brett gotchi essentially, for them to use that and see like I guess Brett signage inside of like one of our games like Gotchi Guardians?
I mean, we could like not including that in this, but this is kind of we would do something simple, and if it gets any traction whatsoever, then we can always add more things on, and that's basically um, more perks for their community. Some of them are just happy to see like, hey, there's like we're taking over gotchi this week. That would already be like kind of a cool raid. A lot of these communities like to raid stuff, so if we kind of frame it as like go raid the gotchis this week, I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I do like the idea of collabing with these different communities because it just tokens tend to have a much larger holding versus like NFTs or games
Yeah.
with limited assets. So it does open it up to a whole new audience. And as we approach
What?
base,
Yeah.
we can just branch out more.
Yeah, we have great relations with the base team. If there's any teams on base that like we want to work with, I think they're pretty helpful. Um, the what was I gonna say? Sorry, I forgot my train of thought. But yeah, it's like there's a lot of activity on base. There's a lot of meme tokens. There's a lot of utility tokens. Everyone's got BD budgets. This is what essentially powers like things like Aerodrome. People are just bribing all the time. It just becomes a thing that people's like projects have a budget for this.
Yeah, so Phantasma has a great
Oh, I
comment
was
here.
gonna say that just real quick. We're like the only NFT project that is a dynamic NFT. I think that's another thing that's really interesting about Aavegotchi. Our NFTs can change. And most NFT collections out there do not have the ability to like change their metadata without the devs actually like going in and interfering. So this is something that can be done programmatically, uh, which I think is like pretty neat. No, there's not the only. I'm trying to think if there's any other collections that like do something like this. I haven't seen any NFTs that actually go and allow other communities to come in and like change them. Maybe something like base paint, but that's different. Yay! We found hardcore. Is also our first NPC in the Gotchiverse. It's not the conversation. It feels very like it kind of felt with talking with hardcore. Like it's a little bit random, but I think it works. Yeah, super epic. I love that. We're gonna need the text of the prop we're gonna push, right? Oh, it's so funny. Rest in peace, hardcore man. Ditchy, I totally agree. Like this has been on my mind for a year and a half at least now. Like we need a ghost staking program, especially relaunching on a new chain. It's gonna really help. Uh, I think with obviously we've seen without any extra utility for Ghost, like it's kind of getting pummeled out there because there's just not that much attention on the token. So staking program that aligns us with DeFi a little bit more, like in our early days, allows us to reach out to other communities on Base. That's kind of the idea here. The idea here, and we're also not diluting our own yield. Yield is coming from protocol like Aave. USDC is also not the only yield out there. There's others, like we could get a little bit more experimental. There's things like liquid staking ETH that give a higher yield, but you'd have to hold ETH instead of USDC. There's things like Pendle, which are really cool, but those are more like leverage plays. I don't know if there's an appetite to leverage the hungry ghosts. Yeah, sure. I mean, you're free to send anything over. I'm not that concerned with liquidity. I'm not like LPing and forcing people to have LPs. I feel like is not necessarily the direction I want to go with a staking program, like personally, because LPs just have such high impermanent loss, and people. I think there was a study done. I can't remember. I saw one of the chats I'm in. Like most people are losing money on LPs. Most retail LPers are losing money. So I kind of like the idea of just here's my Ghost, here's my USDC. They're separate. There's no impermanent loss happening. Whereas with an LP strategy, you end up having kind of impermanent loss. And yeah, Zbot, totally the Coinbase wallet. The idea with this was like we could probably get it to a point where someone is like scrolling in Coinbase wallet and they see an ad that says, "Hey, like claim your gotchi," and this would be a little bit down the line probably, but like there's definitely a way we could onboard people in Coinbase wallet with a program like this because it's just pretty simple. Like you got some USDC in your Coinbase wallet, boom, like rent a gotchi for a week, put your USDC in, put your Ghost in, see how much you can earn. Like that's the pitch. And yeah, people earning Ghost, you'd be earning Ghost and potentially the partner tokens. We're buying Ghost using USDC, and then we're distributing Ghost. And the people that are earning that Ghost are probably more likely to just like we probably have an auto compound option. We would just let people turn on, where it just automatically compounds back into your gotchi, and you don't even like need to claim it, or you could just be done kind of like autopilot. So you would minimize a lot of selling pressure with that way. So yeah, that's basically my probably the last iteration that I want to do. If people don't like this version, I'm kind of out of ideas. I'm just gonna go focus on Gotchi Guardians. But yeah, if you guys have any specific comments, please know more of the. You guys should just focus and stop doing random stuff like this. It's like I don't think that's not a very constructive comment. It just makes me feel like no one wants to actually move this forward. I know people here do, but if we get every time I see comments like that, I'm just like whatever, bro. we're trying to actually do something, and people just there's a lot of backseat devs that are just just kind of shitting on things. So it's not really fun. I'd rather have people actually giving constructive feedback. or just saying no, I don't want this. Like this is not something I'm interested in. That's also fine.
Yeah, very good points to be made. You can jump into the conversation, give some feedback to this proposal of some alterations to the Hungry Ghost. The link is there that coderdan just dropped, and yeah, be civil, friends. That's the goal. We're a friendly community. That's what we've been built on. So that's very important. coderdan, I know you got to go, so I want to just thank you for your time as always.
Yeah, thanks. I got a few more minutes here, and then I'll bounce. But yeah.
Yeah, if there's any questions for coderdan, just drop them into the chat. We have a couple of other conversations that we can have today. FIFO, are you available to jump up now? There are the other two topics of discussion. We don't have. I guess I can speak on the DAO facilitator role piece of things, but that can wait. And then Gotchi Badler, I'm just going to kind of read off a summary of what's been kind of laid out by Immaterial, and would encourage you to jump into chat. But FIFO, are you available to jump up now? Yeah, PG saying, I like that we are going back to Aave for yield. It's our roots. I agree. The DAO has shut the doors on a lot of PC's development. We'll be working to clear out some of these obstacles over the next few months. That's from Ditchy. And then Zbot dropping this wonderful rainbow vomit GIF. I've been using the GIFs a lot. The salute GIF is my go to right now. Choina, I did not see Maxi Crouton share this moving liquidity and funds. Is that a new DAO post? Because I didn't see that this week. Thrax, if you want to jump up and do that now, we only have FIFA really scheduled. I can go through my little summary that I have for the Future of Gotchi Battler Part 3 that was just dropped, just so that we can discuss it. Immaterial is not here this week. He said he can be here next week to. Oh, he just did today, so I haven't had a chance to look at that yet. If Maxi Crouton wants to come up and discuss it, that'd be great. I haven't had a chance to read it because I didn't notice it. But yeah, this is the Future of Gotchi Battler. Part 3. It was just dropped by Immaterial, and basically the TLDR is this proposal outlines a 245K funding request and 1.2 million ghost rewards runway to transform Gotchi Battler into a sustainable revenue generating Web3 game. Development timeline would be to start development in May 2025, which he already has started, with public testing scheduled for September 2025 with a full launch by Q4 2025. The budget breakdown would be core team plus strategic hires would be $204,000. Marketing would be $30,000. Infrastructure and assets would be $11,000 for a total of 245K. They essentially would be doing 100K of Ghost per month across 4 battle pass tiers, with a 12-month runway of 1.2 million Ghost. Separate funding needed for delayed season 10, which is 300K Ghost. That would be separate. I believe Immaterial said that he's willing to roll that into this or do it separate depending on what the DAO kind of requests. In terms of the marketing strategy, I would be the one leading this. Part of my job would be doing KOL outreach, like heading up an ambassador program that would include like smaller influencers, but also looking for some ambassador deals with like a larger influencer, such as like Kagi Jan or like Easy Eats Bodega from the Bodagos crew, who can do ideally a monthly highlight video to just draw a bunch of people's attention into what's being built over here. This would also, with the goal of 10xing active players. So that would be from roughly 200 to over 2,000 players entering the Gotchi Battler ecosystem. The sustainability of the plan: 50% of future game revenue goes to players, with 50% reinvested into development. If approved, Gotchi Battler will no longer request rarity farming funds, marking a key step towards long-term independence. So I can say for me on the KOL part of it, it would also be part of a referral program, like an affiliate link program. So it's not just getting the word out there, but actually getting conversions. So like to incentivize people to actually sign up and use the game and play it so that we get that conversion from of new users. So that's the summary I have here. We could talk about it more in depth when immaterial pops up. I'll just read some of the stuff. New favorite low. Not very bullish on KOL campaign, to be honest. I can see that, but I mean, this is the nature of Web three. Like there is like a level of like needing to get attention on stuff. So by having larger KOLs speaking about this. The budget would be, I think, 5K per month. So ideally, it's going to be one larger KOL that we partner with that's gaming and focused and that can bring attention to what's being built here. And then the smaller ambassador program would be basically incentivizing a bunch of smaller creators to make content to kind of amplify that larger KOL's messaging so that we get more eyes on the project in general. Yeah, they have to be really legit to speak for Aavegotchi. So I have like anecdotally, like when I was kind of coming up with this plan, when Immaterial reached out to me originally, I reached out to Jesse to kind of figure out what the pricing would be to talk to someone like Kagi Jam because I know that Aavegotchi has used them in the past. Um, the ideal with this would be to work with a partner who we trust and that we know is good for our brand. It's not going to be someone like Jonah Blake or just any old like CT person who like is tied to a million's game, someone who's actually like in the gaming ecosystem and has like a legitimate opinion that people actually like respect. That would be the idea. Same thing with these smaller KOLs, where it's not just going to be like an open program that's, open to anybody just shit posting about what's being built. It would be a little bit, I'd personally be curating it to moderate who and what is entering the program to make sure that we get, the best quality content that we can for the budget that we have laid forward. Alternately, I outlined a much larger budget for a more traditional marketing campaign, which could include like Web two influencers and stuff like that. But we just don't have we don't have the budget for that kind of thing. So the marketing in this budget is rather small, but I think it can be effective currently because right now our marketing is almost non-existent for Battler, and it doesn't. Yeah, see, that's Thrax. That's a good point. Like this would be part of the affiliate program where they're going to get like a code, and people we can keep track of who's actually pulling people in with the potential revenue share, which Immaterial can speak to in more detail. Uh, in terms of Gotchi Battler going to launch anywhere besides browser, I can't really answer that question. I can only really answer to the marketing side of things, which I'm still like I'm not part of the team. I'm just being, I guess, added as part of the proposal potentially. Okay, just gonna read some comments. Let me scroll up a little bit. Yeah, they have to be legit to speak for Aavegotchi. 100 agree. Dan, shit posting is a good sign, means something is almost delivered. None from those soul scammer eco shit system. I agree. Metrics space, please. 100%. FIFO saying, my worry with the current battler is that the tournament prize distribution is even more concentrated than rarity farming itself. Is there a plan to mitigate that? One wallet has cashed out 20% of the tournament rewards all by himself. That's a great question for immaterial, and I would definitely encourage anybody like that kind of question to post that into the actual chat, the forum post, so that we can get immaterial to respond to something like that once he's awake or back to his computer. Yeah. No worries. No Fifu. Yeah. Any other questions I can try to answer, but I don't really have much information beyond that. All right. Yeah, friends, jump in and definitely leave your feedback. It's very important to do so. Even on the marketing part, I'm definitely gonna view everything and kind of take it in and kind of formulate from there. Uh, yeah, and any questions for immaterial, definitely drop them over there. Let's see. here. Coderdan just left. Okay, so Goobs hears me. Coderdan lost audio. Hot Curly Fry can hear me. Choina can hear me. Yeah, Discord's been acting weird. It might be my VPN because I've been a bad boy shorting Fartcoin in this turmoil of the world. Got to make some money on this. So yeah. So if FIFO or Thrax is available to come up, please raise your hand. If not, then I'm going to what's it called? I will pivot. Okay, here comes FIFO. Sorry, let me just get you up here. FIFO, how are you doing this morning?
GM. It's middle of the afternoon for me, but yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing very fine. Thank you. Same for you. Yeah, I just wanted to just share a link and update on my work I've done recently regarding the idea I have to add some new features again on the official DApp. And the thing is, I did that the last time already, and I want to do it the same. I just try to improve the process time after time, so it gets better, and people can give better feedback, so we all know where we are going. So let me just grab the link somewhere where it is. There it is. So this is the thread. There it is. And so basically I put on a Figma with some previews of how it could look like. How could the feature look like? And the Figma links is here. No, sorry, wait. I'm not on my own computer and I have a few issues. So the idea is that people can go and take a look around, see how it's going to look like on the original DApp if those features get implemented. And yeah, tell me what they think about it. I've been thinking about the lending ecosystem by himself for this past week, because when you start to thinking about the UI, thinking do I need this button, do I need this action, do I need this thing, you start thinking use case and stuff like that. So the idea is that I really believe with what is coming ahead of us, I think the lending market is going to get more activity. And there was also a chapter in the Angry Ghost white paper from Coderdan regarding the rent-to-earn flash leasing model and so on, where basically there could be more activities. And so the idea to me is that actually we are a small community. We all have quite some gotchis in our wallet, but in the future, I see a place where basically if we want to onboard players to get on our game, if the battler, for the battler to reach his 2,000 players, for more players to go into the Gotchiverse, to play Gotchi Guardians and all that stuff, basically we don't have any enough Gotchis on the market to onboard that amount of player. So it means the best way to onboard player at the start before they want to buy a Gotchi is that they rent Gotchis. Is that maybe they will buy a naked Gotchis and they will borrow the wearables. And it's a step-by-step forward so that they start by playing and then they buy. So that's why I really see those features, meaning make it way easier for the actual owners of Gotchi owners and wearables owners to put their assets or a fraction of their assets on the lending market as a must-have. So, well, something that is required, so we get a pool of Gotchi available all the time. So yeah, I'm more and more convinced that is something that we really need, and that's why I really want to push forward with those features. So basically batch actions for the Gotchis. And regarding the wearables, I've been through Hernani's work with the help of PG because he's way better than me when it comes to a smart contract part. And I'm also wondering if there is a world where if there is maybe a need to allow or to implement some batch actions on the wearables lending. So basically, if you have a bunch of wearables that are not equipped on any of your gotchis, or that you think it will be more profitable for you to lend those wearables instead of putting them on some of your gotchis. Actually, I think it was the case. It was like that on Orium, and actually, smart contract works this way. For every different wearables, you have to initiate a transaction, and you cannot batch anything. So I think if someone really has quite some wearables, it can become a blocker because it's going to take a lot of time. So I'm really thinking about the user experience and makes things easier for everyone. So yeah, I think that's all for me today. I just want you to know, well, it's kind of a work in progress. And if some people are interested, they can come on the DAO thread regarding the subject. Or I think you can directly go to Figma and post some comments directly on the Figma also if you want. And I'll be happy to answer. And yeah, I think that's it.
Excellent. Yeah, batch actions I think will be crucial, especially for things like wearables. Like I'm thinking wearable sets. Like if you want to rent the whole set out instead of just piece by piece, it makes it much better. Friends, definitely go and give some feedback. I put the link in again. DApp new features added. Yeah, just jump in there and drop your opinions. Thank you so much, FIFA, for coming up here and spend some time with us.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so Thrax, are you available to jump up now? Oh, Thrax is coming up. Here we go. I haven't talked to Thrax in so long. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, hello. How's it going? It has been a minute, huh?
Yeah, it's been a minute. So
Am I coming
everything's
through?
good. Yeah, you're coming in well.
So, yeah, okay, I'm not going to take up so much of your time, but long story short, Mechagotchis, so essentially V1 was funded for 20K, and essentially we ran out of money almost immediately because I didn't realize how much game dev costs, but I kept funding it through my paycheck. And then it got to a point where it was a playable game, it is fun, it's got like a leaderboard that can be reset, but I essentially could not continue to fund the game myself, so it is on hiatus. I'm looking to potentially do a V2, but I would like to get a temperature check from everybody. Um, Essentially, what I want to do is change the way that I was going to handle the gotchis. It was going to be BRS and wearables are going to change the way the mech behaves. But I think the way forward and the way that would benefit the ecosystem more, in my opinion, is to allow more NFTs to be able to connect and play. And the NFT would essentially just be the avatar that's piloting the mech, which you'd be able to see on your like heads-up display. Um, we could do something like where if there are rewards from the game that are paid out, it would be weighted more towards the gotchis, and then the BRS could come into play. But essentially, what I want to do is just hear from people in the chat um, if you think that this is something that I should pursue, because it would cost at least something like 100K to make it actually happen. Um, and that's like I know like DAO stuff right now. We're all worried about the wallets, so I don't want to write a prop if I hear like a lot of people going, no, no, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you know like or have in mind roughly like what the budget would be for this?
It would be about 100K for development cost.
And then the I guess the timeline on the delivery does that include like a marketing or anything of that nature?
Not really. Marketing, I'm pretty good at doing like low cost marketing, so that's not a huge concern. I'm not going to be doing like KOLs or anything like that. I don't have the budget for it. Um, like realistically, the type of marketing that I can do is like ads pushed on Twitter, um, like things that are like community reward type stuff where people compete for things. Uh, and I'm good at doing like guerrilla type marketing where people like increase their chances of winning by marketing for me essentially. And it doesn't feel like that too much. Like I don't know if you remember early days when we were doing testing, people could like tweet about their experience for an extra raffle ticket essentially to win. So that's the kind of like marketing that I can do for very cheap. Um, and a lot of that comes from essentially me taking on more work to make more assets to give out to people and stuff like that. So it's cheaper money wise, but it takes more of my time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess where for feedback, where would you want people to drop the feedback in the original Mekagachi thread or for this temperature check? What specifically works best for you?
I guess let's just do a poll in here, and then if it looks like a decent poll, I'll write a thread, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, that sounds good. Do you want to post the poll here now or?
Yeah, sure. Here, should I do? Me too. And then just emoji.
Yeah, friends, take part in the poll. This is a very informal temperature check, but there are enough people in here to give Thrax a good idea of like what moving forward. So if there is interest, he can take the necessary steps and forming a proposal or a forum post and getting feedback from that point on. But it is like I definitely get you, man. Like I don't like going through the process of like starting forum proposals if I know that it's going to be dead on arrival. So it's just like, hey, let me know now. Like let's make this a little easier for everyone.
Yeah, I just want to get like a super. If again, guys, like I really, I'm not gonna be like offended by your opinions. So, like, if you don't think that I should do this, just tell me. I'm perfectly happy not doing it. It is one of those things that it's going to benefit us if it was completed. A lot of work was done, and I think that it will be like a cool final product. Like if at the end of the day, if we can have like big battles where like all these different NFT projects are coming to try and win a slice of a pie that they're kind of paying for also because there would be entry fees, then I think that would be like I'm aiming for a self-sustaining thing that is going to go past our ecosystem and utilize the fact that we're going to be on base. But I really just need to get some kind of yes no first.
Yeah, so right now it's five yays, one nay, and I think the one nay is you. So we do have 28 people plus three speakers, so 31 people in total. So friends, definitely hit those emojis now if you can. It helps just let our friend Thrax know, give it a little clarity. We're up to nine and two, 10 and three. All right. Yeah, and if you're thinking no, please if you have any real feedback, drop it in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking, either for or against it. Why you think that this should be funded, or why you think you don't. So Ditchy says, I need to learn more about the project. That's fair. We did fund the project previously. It was a very small for a game. What we gave Thrax was like next to nothing, to be honest. I think it's the second lowest funding we've done for a game that actually delivered anything outside of Mike Callium, who ran with the money, and Zygo, who built the game for, I think it was Steam or Epic, and that game is actually, it's very simple compared to Mekagotchi, and had a much lower cost. But he's built similar games before, so it was understandable. And I think he got multiple rounds of funding for that game. I think it was more than it was 8K and then maybe another 4K if I remember correctly. Uh, so this is you can learn more about it if you look through the forum posts. You'll see some of them. We actually played a couple rounds here on the Hangout one week, uh, months and months and months ago. But obviously the 20K doesn't go very far for building a game.
It really
But it
doesn't,
was
man.
impressive to see how far along you got.
Like when I started this, also I was quite inefficient with figuring out how to do stuff. So like the next iteration, I've learned a whole lot, like a lot of um, small things that'll make uh, game development faster and communication with me and the dev better. There was also this whole thing where the dev that I was working with at the beginning was not doing the work himself and was just hiring other devs. Um, and so like when I found that out, that caused like a lot of roadblock for me, which I had to pay for in time and money, my own money, unfortunately. Uh, but essentially now I have the two junior devs that he was working with, working for me, or they were at a cheaper rate because this guy was essentially scamming all three of us. And this is one of the dangers of working anonymously with people that you've never met.
Yeah, 100% agree. Phantasma has not Phantasma. Phantasma has a good comment here. Our problem is prior games have broken the trust and poisoned the well. Too many money grabs where the easiest thing to is to act offended and quit once the money stops rolling in. It sucks because you see something like the Battler thread. The Battler devs don't deserve the mistrust and accusations, but here we are. So my advice for Mekagotchis is if it has no revenue plans, it at least needs to show how there is a plan for the game to stay online once the funding cycle ends.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. Like the revenue is one of the core tenets of V2. The idea is going to be that revenue generation it's going to be kickstarted by the funding because we're going to sink our own kind of time into it and money into it. But the plan is to have a fully self-sustaining thing once V2 is launched. I'm not sure. My only concern is once it's live, keeping it running is also going to like cost money. So I have to figure out exact numbers and put that into a proposal and um, like figure out essentially what our critical mass is for players for us to be able to keep the game running. And that's what we're going to need to aim for.
Yep, good point. Yeah, just like maybe figuring out what the server costs are for like a year of the game running, and then assuming you know maybe hinting at a continuing budget. Maybe as a DAO, we need to consider this, like continuing budgets to fund game servers after the lifespan of the campaigns that we outlined. So like if like Strategachi was a good example, like when the funding ended, there was no plan in place to have those servers continue or what to do as a DAO. Like, do we fund it ourselves? Do we take control of the game? We need to start like kind of thinking these things out. And it's unfortunate, but we do it is like the experience is going to teach us, and we had to learn some hard lessons here, but we can use that experience to inform us on best steps and best process going forward. Ditchy says, are you considering siloed revenue cycles within the game?
Can you elaborate on that?
I, to be honest, don't know what he means. Or tied to the gotcha reward pools. So I guess the revenue cycles are separate than the gotcha rewards pools.
I
Ditchy,
mean,
can you clarify? Because I'm a smooth brain on this.
the rewards pools are if you, I'm assuming you're talking about actually staking. That all I don't have all the details, or like I haven't read the details yet, so I don't know how we might be able to tie into that. But I have no issues tying into the greater ecosystem, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, Ditchy's elaborating. He said, sure, consider Gotcha Guardians, ellipses. It has its own microtransactions.
Yes, I am planning on having my own transactions within game. There will be things like skin upgrades and stuff like that, where you can buy cooler looking mechs. There's also going to be a marketplace where people can trade skins, and there's going to be fees generated from that.
It's a standalone game without any funding coming from the rewards pool. Yeah, AB makes a great point. Fun games are key. More fun needed.
Yeah,
That is the
absolutely.
best marketing. Yeah.
I agree. That's one of the reasons that I want to make it um, more accessible to other projects. Because if we see people like duping it out online, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Like, you don't need to encourage people to play if the game is fun and their friends are playing it.
Yeah, so Wanda Gachi with their comment. Right now, too many failed bigger attempts. Mecha is right idea, but wrong time. Need to go back to those small mini games that Gachi Gang first had. Need some small wins. And then the list you see, Lucky's Invaders, Gachi Battler, Gachi Guardians, Sandbox, Dropped, Gachi Heroes, Laser Hawk, Licky's Escape, Mecha Gachi Reckless, Gai Spirit Force Arena, Stratagachi. We also didn't include in that list Fake Wars is one of those things. Yeah, like for me personally, I'm kind of like confused why we didn't continue down the road of our basic arcade. Because when I first got into Aavegotchi, I thought that was like the main draw, and it's now so easy to use cursor and create cloned versions of regular Web 2 games. We want to build our own like larger like gaming ecosystem, and bigger games, better like more built out games make perfect sense. But I'm surprised we haven't doubled down and created a library of cloned Aavegotchi games and had like XP and minor rewards programs for that, because literally there are a bunch of other projects that do that, and they can do well for them considering the cost, right? So I'm just surprised as a DAO that we haven't incentivized this. I've mentioned it a couple times before. Like I built a 2048 game very easily. I never asked for funding or anything, but it's like, oh yeah, this could be a really easy like win where we can have a whole arcade of games and get people in playing and maybe earning glitter prizes, or if we partner with like base related meme coins, have them put up some prizes, and we're kind of generating a flywheel of attention for both projects. It's definitely over the years something that's kind of perplexed me, but I get it because we're a gaming DAO. We're trying to build like future games, like stuff that's cool and bigger. So FIFA, I'm sorry, Mr. Seb saying, if needed, I have a contact at Aleph Cloud, Meta ETH Denver. They can host gaming servers. And he told me maybe a possibility to have some free servers for Aavegotchi to test if it is met the dev needs. Uh, yeah, remember Gotchi Miner, that Phantasma. Sad that it didn't go, that's gone. Also, is Dropped officially done at this point? Because I thought that there was continued development, just that Oliver Spoon wasn't going to be involved anymore.
I think Slick's still working on it.
Okay. Yeah, we should probably get some updates on that because I don't know what's happening with that. AB saying, bingo, Cursor is insane for coding now. I've created full game engines and games with it, not a single line of code manually. I've done very basic games, but I've created the Gotchi 2048 that had a full leaderboard, a wallet connect, the Wallet Connect was able to check that you had an Aavegotchi in it, and if you had an Aavegotchi, you could be on the leaderboard. It still needed like some tweaks, but I got it so that the mechanics of playing 2048 worked. So I was, and tweaked all the graphics, had it have a memory for the history of games played. Uh, it's cool. Like Twan has been doing this for a while. Shout out to Twan. I think he's still in the audience, where he's using Cursor to build like a whole bunch of or Claude to build a whole bunch of stuff. It's definitely possible for us to play around and build a smaller, at least a smaller arcade to subsidize and draw attention to the bigger games that are being built as well. Yeah, Ditchy saying there is a great mechanic we can deploy, centralize player rewards into all the mini games, bring ghost staking back, bring friends farming back, friends raffle tickets, loot tickets, and loot boxes are available for all mini game devs to deploy in game. I do like that flywheel because I would definitely play the mini games, the ones that I like the most, to get the loot boxes. Like we had a point where I remember every time we had an XP event, I would grind for a whole week playing like Gotchi Snake or Gotchi the Gatherer or the tower defense game. A lot of Jared specials. He's no longer part of Gotchi Gang, but those games were epic and the competitions were fun. We were doing like basically our regular like parties for the XP events. We're missing a lot of that now. We don't really have these big events like for rarity farming. We used to do a snapshot party every snapshot. We've moved it to Saturdays, which is kind of making this the party, but it doesn't have the fanfare that it used to have when we first did it. Yeah, we got to add the arcade machine to this list, Wanda Gotchi, because it's complete, and the Gotchi, I forgot what he called it. White Ranger, the game he created, it's like there, but I don't know if he's still actively developing it. And we're gonna have to figure out where the arcade goes itself, because if not, like Piglet might throw it away. So I'm probably gonna emergency have him ship it to me, but then from there we got to figure out what to do with it. Battleverse, that's what it is. Yes.
Need better end of contract terms. That's something that we don't really do. Like if you run out of funding or you haven't reached your milestone, what happens to your game? Like, are you? We don't like all these things that like get close to completion, and then it's like, oh, I ran out. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, give us the code base. Maybe we can do something with it. But no, that needs to be outlined in props.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, that goes for everything. If we think about it right now, this is the next subject. We don't have to really talk about it very long, but the facilitator's role, once the quorum adjustment is made, the proposal will probably come from the facilitators to extend and add like another term. I'm thinking that I'm going to push for not just one term, but ongoing funding, and we can have regular elections because we need to have these meetings as part of our foundation requirements. We're supposed to have like regular, at least monthly meetings and have minutes taken and recorded. If we stop doing that, we kind of like are not being compliant. So we have to worry about that. We can always work on the terms, but like even that, like there is no plan in place currently. I don't know how it worked when the facilitators first took over, but Hefe created the YouTube pages for the DAO, right? Right now I have access to the DAO YouTube page, like because it's been like a delegated, I guess is the term, so that I can access it, although I don't have the sign in information to be in charge of it, right? If we wind down facilitators, what happens to the DAO YouTube page? Does it just die? Is it supposed to go? Is that password and account information supposed to go to the directors and we're supposed to custody that as the foundation? We don't really have any of this stuff like kind of sorted out. So we should be thinking deeper, and like I said, the experience that we're getting from going through this process is what's going to really lead us to do that. Yeah, did she say DAO should own all IP for funds granted? Dev can own IP for funds loaned. Yeah, I agree. The previous agreements didn't do that, so we can't just demand Stratagachi give us the game or Drop give us the game. In an ideal world, we could, as a DAO, take ownership of the game and then have another team pick it up. Like, there's no reason, honestly. The team that built, I think it was Rebel Labs, the team that built Reckless is a legitimate team, and they have said they can build these, like games for fairly cheap. There's no reason we couldn't, if we had ownership of these games, go to them and hire them as a partner to build out and continue the legacy of what has been built already. It's just, we didn't set up these terms at the beginning, which is kind of bonking us right now.
I just want to point out, I don't think, like technically speaking, I don't think there's anything stopping us from making a DAO prop to go hire them to make more anything. We can do that.
Yeah, I mean, transparently, I've told them to approach I messaged them as like, you should approach the DAO for funding. Like, your game rocked, and I think that, I want to see it continue on. We got one level of Reckless. There was supposed to be multiple levels. Things didn't work out. I guess I don't know the full specifics, but it's like, yeah, I mean, I would 100% be okay with funding teams that have history, that had built games for long term, that are outside of the DAO. I love that we fund people within the DAO, because this DAO has been from the very beginning about learning and growing our skill sets in a lot of ways. It reminds me of Coyote teaching everybody how to do phaser like programming and stuff like that, and building these very basic mini games at the very beginning. We can all do that with Cursor now. We can all do that, and I think that's dope. And we can all continue, like continue to have Gotchi Gang build out Gotchi Gang experiences is important. But we do have a treasury. There's no reason that we can't hire an outside gaming studio ourselves to build a curated experience just for us. Oh yeah. So D-Bot saying we have all levels, no futuristic, but Gotchi Guardians is the priority to focus. I agree. Oh, I didn't know that Grid Gladiator did that also. Remove the Aavegotchi references. And that was one of my favorite games. Playing that on the arcade machine was fun. It was easy to teach people the mechanics of it, and people liked it because it was a simple loop. The Where some of the other games, like playing Drop, was great on the arcade machine, but or on the computer. I don't even know if we ever actually played it on the arcade machine, but it required like a really solid internet connection. Stratagachi 2, when we tried to display these games at ETH Denver, their internet is not good. So it'd be intermittent at best. Gotchi Guardian, same thing at the last ETH Denver. Gotchi Guardians was hit or miss with the internet. Reckless played amazingly well on the arcade machine, and then the Battleverse that White Ranger created also played really well. Yeah, bring back the old school lightweight Atari nostalgia games that I could play with my gotchis. Gotchi Miner for Dig Dug, Lucky's Invaders for Space Invader, Gotchi Missile Command, Gotchi Centipede, Gotchi Snake. You can do a very 8-bit Gotchi racing game, Gotchi Chess, Gotchi Poker. There's like a million different things that we can do. It's basically just plugging the IP, and there's really like a billion different GitHub repositories with everything that we want code base to build out some of these very simple games. It's just a matter of like deploying an arcade and doing it. Our arcade should have 50 games in it. And even if they're all clone games, literally the majority of Web3 gaming is like vaporware. We have like some tier one games that we're building out, the Gotchi Guardians, the bigger games that we're trying to bring like new experiences that could, do well on console. But at the same time, for the DGens, like, you don't understand how many versions of Flappy Bird I've played in Web3 over the years. Like every meme coin launches Flappy Bird or some version of it, and it gets the holders going. It's not going to be the winning product, but it adds to the allure, and it keeps the user base basically engaged because they have constant like stimulation from playing these games that we all know and love. Like I want to play like the AAA game, but like for me, like Spirit Force Arena, man, that was one of my favorite games. I wish we still had that up and running because I liked playing that. I thought it was great. It didn't seem like Gotchi Gang was playing it as much as I would have liked, but it worked. Like my kid played it, he loved it. Like it's he had his some feedback for it. It was like he thought it was like pretty, you know, good. There were little things, but it was a great game. And there's like not many games that step up to that level outside of like AAA games like OTG, which they spent hundreds of millions of dollars to develop. So there's definitely something there.
I agree about
Oh
Spirit
yeah,
Force.
another game. Yeah, I miss Spirit Force. Getting my ass whipped.
I needed some work. Like there are a couple of things that would definitely have changed, but like overall, the vertical, I don't know what to call it. It's a shooter, but there's liquidators and there's lava and there's. It was fun, man.
Yeah, you get 10 gotchis in there, like real gotchis, and it became intense, especially with the lava rising up. And it was cool. I liked it. We need to bring that back. Maybe the DAO can fund it. Um, all good ideas. Like I said, if you have ideas, iterate, friends. We have people in the chat talking about, they're working on game engines and just utilizing the IP. So definitely do that. It would be good if we still had the Aavegotchi arcade task force, because this is the kind of thing that with their budget they could dole out small grants to developers that are trusted to build some of these games. Or if you built the game to bet you vibe coded like my 2048, I can go to them and be like, hey, can you like basically fund this for the server development? Not even me building the game because it took like 2 hours to do, but like, hey, like pay for the servers and maybe someone to do a quick audit to make sure that no one's going to get wrecked because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, these little things like AB saying, you really got to make these last treasury dollars count. Think carefully. This is it. AI coding will be the key, but a ton of low value games or mid games are just not going to move the needle. Prepare for the shutdown announcement after the last dollar has been burnt. I agree. I think I'm a little bit more optimistic because we do have a nice bag of Ethereum. So I'm hopeful that we don't decide to spend it too quickly. And if we get past the turmoil that we're seeing now, I do think that eventually we'll see an alt season, and then that Ethereum will be worth a lot more, and then we'll have more runway. But we do have to be very careful about what we're spending on, how we're spending it. There are certain spends that we just can't avoid. Like we have to have an annual budget to pay for our on-chain for the foundation. If we decide not to have a foundation, that's a different conversation. But we have to pay it. We just don't have a choice at this point, at least for the next year. So just kind of, yeah, lock in and get focused. Yeah, I did love the 2D Arena Phantasma. I used to host game nights with Orium, and we'd have fun. Like the mechanics work. There are no other games that I've seen that had that level of mechanic where you can literally pick up crypto and then exit with it after the game. Like it just hasn't happened. Even OTG, uh, I don't think their main net for what you like the loot boxes you get, the I forget what they're called, hexes. You can't sell that stuff yet. The guns, you can't sell it. So it was we're definitely ahead of our times with the 2D arena. And yeah, like it was fun doing those game nights. That was like so dope a couple years back, but we move on. We move on. Yeah, so outside of that, the only other subject is the facilitator's role. Don't really need to say much. Just keep an eye out. There will be a prop coming forward, or yeah, probably a signal proposal coming forward on the extension of another term. There's likely to be a blackout period, but it seems like all of us facilitators are willing to kind of man the ship while we wait for proposals to go through. I don't know if there's plans for retroactive payments for that, but we'll discuss that, I guess, internally. But unless anyone else has anything else that we should discuss here on the Dower today, we can get ready to wrap things up and then spend the rest of our weekend. It is Father's Day tomorrow or today, depending on what part of the world you're in. So I hope you have a happy Father's Day. read through the comments. Internal spending is what they dry out the treasury. External investments in the treasury will keep the war chest alive and extend the runway while we're restructuring for game revenues. Yeah, this is true. Z-Bot saying we can do a legit gaming dev list curated pretty diligently, pretty hard to get in, so we protect our IP, treasury, and DAO. Yeah, we got to protect the bag a little bit better, and I think that's a goal that we can all agree to. All right. So if there's nothing else, friends, I want to thank you for coming out to this week's Hangout and Dower. It's been a pleasure speaking with everybody. And yeah, there's a couple of forum posts that you can hit up. Go give some feedback on the Hungry Ghost forum post, the DApp's new features, the future of Gotchi Badler. And I see that I believe this is Ditchy. His DAO structure topic number 2 has some new comments in it. So definitely jump in, drop off any feedback you have, and we'll shut down this hangout now, and we'll see you again next week for the Hangout and Dower. Have a great day, friends.